Well, good evening, guys. I just want to say this, great racing weekend at Daytona. We saw a really good Daytona 500. We saw all the races this past weekend at Speed Weeks. We saw a good truck race, Xfinity race. Um, we definitely want to talk about, the situation of Ryan Newman after he had a scary crash at the Daytona 500 on Monday night. And I got to tell you what, guys, when I saw this track, I thought to myself, unbelievable. Probably one of the scariest wrecks there is, but it just goes to show you that NASCAR does a really great job when it comes to safety. No questions asked. To my right of me, to my right, my co-producer Chris Burns. So all I can just tell you, Chris, is sorry that you couldn't stay for the whole race, and I'm sorry that the race got rained out. But I tell you what, I got a skip day from church to watch the whole entire race on Monday night, but I tell you what, the finish, I just can't stop talking about it. It's insane.
You and about every other member of American sports fans in general. There's the Dr. Pepper cherry. By the way, it has a little kiss of cherry flavor. Look that up on YouTube when you get done watching us.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? We'll touch on Sunday for just a bit. You make the drive. I go pick up Zach. I hit the Bunghole Liquors right there in Peabody, Massachusetts. Come to your house. I met a lot of great people. Patrick is a spitfire, man. I dig that dude. Everybody.
Redneck Pat.
I had so much fun with everybody there. The food
Yeah.
was great. The atmosphere was great. Definitely worth the drive for 20 laps of racing. But, Patrick and I got to watch some XFL. We watched a little hockey. We waited for the race to be called. But then you go to Monday. Monday, they throw down the race, starting from where they left off at lap 21. The aero package, the cars are just so tight. The passing, when you get a good train going, whether you're on the top or the bottom, and that's something we talked about last week, which line was going to be stronger? Well, I guess it wasn't necessarily the Fords versus the Chevys versus the Toyotas like last year. What it is for me is, you watch these cars, and the new Camaro package on the Chevys was strong. You get in a line and you just go, and you're just having a great time. We're going to talk about this and more when we review Daytona 500, but I would be remiss if I did not mention what happened to Ryan Newman at the end of the race. I'm sure everybody has seen it about 875 times. Coming out of turn 4 on that final lap, Hamlin gets Blaney a little squirrely. Blaney saves the car, or so it seems. He touches Newman. Newman goes sideways into the safer barrier. And then as his car is a little bit up in the air, he gets hit by – oh, no, he actually had done a flip, and Corey LaJoie hit him.
Yeah.
Skids over the start-finish line with a momentum that carried at first about 150 miles an hour on his side after he came to rest on his driver's side. It was perhaps the scariest wreck since Carl Edwards and Brad Keselowski in Talladega. My heart sank. I jumped out of my chair, and I just repeated to myself, please be okay. Please be okay.
Yeah.
I went live right here just to talk to people because I was getting text messages, Facebook messages. What's going on? What's going on? The broadcast went dark as soon as they talked to Hamlin. And first of all, I'm going to stop myself. For the people who say Hamlin should not have celebrated, wrong. Hamlin doesn't know the severity of the issue. The car gets wheeled in. He gets out. Yay! I'm sure Coach told him, hey, there's an issue with Ryan going on over here. You notice that his celebration was very tame compared to someone who would normally be jumping up and down for winning his third Daytona 500. Class act by Hamlin. An hour later, he sends out a tweet. This will all hit me tomorrow. This will all hit me in the future. However, I'm more concerned about Ryan Newman right now than I am celebration. Good job by Denny Hamlin. I've heard people poke at Denny Hamlin saying he caused it. I've heard people poke at Ryan Blaney and say that he caused it. If you watch the Loki and Jabroni show on Tuesday nights right here on YouTube or listen to audio only, my partner, Michael Loki Smith, said the exact right thing. And this is a guy who was a really big racing fan. He's dabbling in it again now that we've assigned him Matt DiBenedetto as a favorite driver. He said, when Ryan Newman makes a statement, and he will make a statement probably in the next few days, He's going to tell you and the rest of the world, I would have done the exact same thing. We're all gunning for that finish line. We're all gunning for that trophy. There can only be one Daytona 500 champion. He's also probably going to say, I didn't want this to happen, but it happened to me. I wouldn't want it to happen to anybody else. One thing that I shared on my live feed, and thank you to the now, oh my God, I'm so humbled by this, 8,000 people that watched that video, the 300 plus that
Can't believe it.
in. I know, right? And thank you. If you're here with us tonight or you're on audio only, thank you so much. Welcome to our racing family. You know, it wasn't so much to be sensational. I had all these comments coming in, all these text messages coming in. I said, you know what? Screw it. I'm going live. We're going to sit together. And I'm seeing names pop up that I've never seen before. And we all started talking. We all started, praying. We all started laughing. And we were basically doing it's how we met, we're sitting at the track, meeting someone to your right for the very first time and just shooting the breeze about NASCAR. But in this situation, everybody cared about Ryan Newman. I shared this Monday night, and I'm going to share it here on the show. It's the last time I'm going to talk about it. But the reason I'm so concerned about Ryan Newman is twofold. One, it happens to be one of my oldest and dearest friends, Frank Sadowski's favorite driver. Let's put a 1A on this. It's also Loki's mother's favorite driver. The second one is my daughter was born 2 days before Ryan Newman won the Daytona 500 in 2008. So her very first race, wrapped up like a burrito, all 7 pounds, 10 ounces of her, watched that race with me. So, and he was a Penske driver. He was a teammate of Rusty Wallace. He's always going to hold a soft spot. I never have had a bad thing to say about Ryan Newman. In fact, go back through our archives. I always talk very much praise about Ryan Newman. The one thing I'm going to mention before I throw it back to Corey is the sensationalism that has gone on in the last 48 hours regarding Ryan Newman. People putting up fake reports. The interview that some news station did with the attending physician. Oh, what was it like to treat the great Ryan Newman? Okay, Ryan Newman is no different than Corey Huffnagel, no different than Chris Burns. When you get into an accident, you get wheeled into an emergency room, they have an obligation to treat everybody the same, regardless of if you're Ryan Newman, Chris Burns, Corey Huffnagel, whomever. I was speaking with a former person who formerly worked, let me try that again, in the medical field. And she had the same thing to say. What does it matter when you have an injured person in front of you? Your job as a medical professional is to give them the best treatment possible at that time. It doesn't matter if you're Ryan Newman. I think maybe the one exception would be, say, the President of the United States. And that's it. That's really it. So we'll talk. I know you want to get into the do's and don'ts of this crash, but I want to hear what you thought watching this crash, as you just heard me give my take on what I saw during that horrific wreck on the last lap of the Daytona 500.
Well, to me, with this wreck, I was watching the finish of the race, and it looked as if, it was going to be a side-by-side finish. So as they were coming off at turn 4, you could see that, Denny Hamlin and Ryan Blaney, those guys had a head of steam. So from what it looked like, Blaney pretty much backed off on the gas because it looked like, he was going to take out Newman or something like that and so forth. But, and then, of course, Blaney tries to peak low, then he goes up high, and then Newman somehow, gets his left rear quarter panel caught, and then that's what turns him around. And then, of course, the rest was just history. So to me, when he hit the safer barrier, I thought to myself, all right, hard hit, that's what we've seen, in a car, going like 200 miles an hour. But the one part where he gets hit in the driver's side door upside down by Corey LaJoie, that was the part that scared me the most. And that just pretty much told me that something tells me that this isn't good, and it's not really good at all. So now, fast forward after the crash. Everybody was anticipating, even I was anticipating, that Newman was going to get out of the car. So now 5 to 10 minutes goes by, he's not out of the car, and now you're thinking, okay, something bad just happened, and we don't know what's going on. So now they cut him out of the car, and then, of course, they take him to the hospital and everything. And so one thing I really want to point out is I want to say that NASCAR kind of did an okay job in this situation, but I don't think they did the best of job, when it comes to, with this accident. And then, of course, drivers that are like risking it and all that stuff and so forth. Because let's face it, it's the last lap. You're doing whatever it takes to win the 500. I mean, everybody's going for it. The checkered flag's waving and everything and so forth. And then I also disagree with pretty much with Fox, because I think Fox didn't do really the best of job, with post-race coverage, etc. Because right after when they got off on the air and when they showed 911 Lone Star, whatever, everybody just wanted to see what was going on with Ryan Newman. And we didn't get a report until, like, I'd say like 2 hours later or something after the race, with NASCAR Race Hub and so forth. So that was the one part that I was relieved on. But then yet again, I really think Fox should have had more post-race report, of what was going on. But of course, it wasn't really their fault. It was kind of a TV deal. They're pretty much that makes the decision at the end. So I would say with all this, I wouldn't be surprised if NASCAR kind of makes, a decision or makes a little bit of a rule change, with the tapered spacers and the restrictor plates and whatever it is and so forth. But I think this is probably NASCAR's biggest wake-up call that there is. And if you go back to the Daytona 500 in 2018 when Eric Almirola got taken out by Austin Dillon, and this is kind of my quote that I was listening to on another YouTube channel, and this is one quote that really hit me spot on. This was only going to escalate to a point where somebody got hurt. And we just saw Ryan Newman go to the hospital on Monday and got released today. So I would have to say this, of course, NASCAR drivers are going to take bigger chances and bigger risks and so forth. But when it comes to accidents like this, let's face it, NASCAR has not had a fatality ever since 2001. And I get that, NASCAR is trying to make a car that's a lot safer. And of course, with the Hodson head and neck restraint, that protects the drivers as well. But like I said, and I'm just going to say this right now, he's very lucky to be alive. I mean, the part where he got hit in the driver's side door, that scared me the most. And like I said, he's really lucky, but I really think that this is going to be a big wake-up call for NASCAR, and I wouldn't be surprised if they make an announcement or something.
Well, let's look at it two different ways. Not only getting hit on the driver's side, but skidding on the asphalt on his driver's side door and window, and the only thing protecting him, there's two things protecting him: full face helmet and the head restraint on the seat. That's it. Yeah. Because immediately to your left is an open window and a mesh net. So while, pardon, it's not really a cuss word, but we try not to cuss on this show. So while he's skidding down the dogleg, you have asphalt and tire rubber and dirt and sod and snot and ass just pelting you through that window. Yeah. And you are inches away from the asphalt. That's scary as hell. And that was the thing that got to me. The hit, I've seen those hits before. But to see him skid on that driver's side door, and I thought maybe this will be a situation like Clint Boyer where the car rolls over, comes to rest on its wheels. It didn't happen. The lump in your throat. I can only speak for myself, and maybe some of you felt this way too. The lump in my throat was so huge. I stood up. I'm like, just tell me he's okay. Just absolutely get out of that car. I'm going to give you the Fox thing. Yes, it's a Monday night. It wasn't supposed to be run on a Monday night. You have, regularly scheduled programming that is about to go on. I get that. But the way they cut and ran without giving so much as an update, they're like, right after the accident, they showed the emergency crews out there doing what they do. We cut to Hamlin. Well, I won. That's really great. And thank you, Joe Gibbs and FedEx and Coca-Cola and Tampax and all these people. And it's like, well, thank you for watching. Good night. The way they cut too soon. Maybe say, follow FS1 for more updates on Ryan Newman, because emergency crews are still working on him right now. No, it was just like, well, thanks for watching. Good night. That's just, that cut and run just pissed me off.
And you could pretty much say that Fox pretty much dropped the ball big time.
Well, now to go to your other point, I don't know how many years ago it was that Tony Stewart came out, and with the amount of aggressive driving and the aero package that was then, He says, when is this going to stop? Somebody's going to get killed. We need to figure out how to, well, basically, like I said last week during the Bush crash, how do we not drive like morons? I understand we're all chasing a cash prize and a trophy and adulation and maybe someday a seat in the Hall of Fame. But right next to you, right in front of you, to your left or to your right and to your immediate six is another human being. You have to start thinking globally, not locally. Yes.
Yeah.
Tend to yourself. Yes. Be a competitor. Yes. Go out there and drive the race of your freaking life. But remember, regardless of what you feel to the guy to your right, the guy to your left, to your forward or to your six, that's another human being who has a family, who has loved ones, who has fans, who has people he cares about and he wants to get out of that car and see. Stop driving like a damn moron. And in this situation, I'm not assigning blame to anybody. This was one of those things where three cars who were really, really good, it was an unfortunate incident. The beauty of it, not only the power of prayer for the racing family all over America, not only for the tireless efforts of the folks at the track and at Halifax Medical Center. Here we are 2 days later, and at 1:30 this afternoon, Ryan Newman walked out of that hospital hand in hand with his two little girls, and damned if I wasn't one of the happiest human beings on earth.
Right. And also, I just want to say one other thing about the whole Denny Hamlin win, whatever it is. Yes, I know that some people, they were criticizing him, of celebrating the win and so forth, but let's be honest, guys. He didn't know the situation of what happened to Ryan Newman until he looked on the big screen to see how bad it was. In fact, Team Motor Joe Gibbs, right? Team Motor Joe Gibbs apologized for the celebration because even he said, we knew that there was an accident, but we didn't know how bad it was going to be. So
Right.
that was pretty much the part of, I mean, I kind of get with the whole, all right, they shouldn't have done the donuts, until they figured out like how bad the Ryan Newman situation was going to be. But let's be honest. I mean, it's the Daytona 500. They were just focused on the win, and then probably I'd say like 2 minutes later they were focused on, okay, something happened with Ryan Newman, whatever it is, and so forth.
I slightly disagree. Do the donuts.
All right.
Nobody knew. Emergency crews had just gotten to the car. You don't know if he's going to walk away. You don't know if they're going to pull out a bloody corpse. You don't know if they're going to pull, 10 pounds of cocaine out of the car. All you know is that Ryan Newman's car is on its side. That's all you know. And if that's the information you're working with, yes, do your donuts. Yes, do the victory lap. Yes, pull into victory lane. And again, much credit to Denny Hamlin, Joe Gibbs, and that whole JGR team and the number 11 FedEx, is that once he pulled in, somebody whispered in his ear, or maybe on his radio, hey, there's a situation with Ryan down there past start-finish line. Maybe we shouldn't, go crazy with the cheese whiz in victory lane. And they didn't. They kept it subdued. Did they stand around and take their pictures? Yes, it's protocol. Did they talk to reporters on Fox, MRN, and everyone else? Yes, they did. But that's protocol. You can't fight City Hall. And the reason I say that is there are expectations when you win a race. You have this, and this to do. You don't just pull your car in, go grab a hooker, and go have fun. You have to do this stuff every single time you win a race. You can still be concerned for Ryan Newman. Hell, Michael Waltrip still had a very subdued victory gimmick in 2001 while nobody knew about the situation and how grave it was with Dale Earnhardt at that Daytona 500. So I'll agree to disagree here. They did tone it down, good for them, but it's still an accomplishment. 3 Daytona 500 wins for Denny Hamlin. But look, guys, at the end of the day, I want you guys to remember this. And you guys see me raise this little thing up every week. Those of you Sunday saw the T-shirt that was beautifully, decorated by one Mad Dog Madison Fuller. I don't care if it's Kyle Busch. Okay, I may wish hateful things on Kyle Busch. I hope you break your pelvis. Hey, I hope your car, blows an engine. Hey, I hope your wife's fake boobs explode. But I don't wish death on somebody, and I don't wish serious injury. In fact, if you go back, which we didn't have a show then, and if you were to find me on Facebook, when he broke his leg, I was like, you know what? May not like him, may not think anything of him, but damn, I hope Kyle Busch gets better. The race is better with him in it, as much as I dislike him, than it is without him.
Right. And I remember that accident quite clear because that was at the point where before, we had safer barriers on the inside part of the racetrack, and look what NASCAR did after that.
And look what it did for William Byron. He could have accordioned that car much worse when he took that hit on the inside, but he didn't.
Yeah.
So, and that goes back to something I talked about on Monday on the live feed, and it goes to something I want to say today, and we talked about it on the Welkin Jabroni show. Since we lost Dale Earnhardt, tragic. Yes, absolutely. The 19-year anniversary was just yesterday on Tuesday.
Yeah.
The strides in safety have come a long way. When you look at the wreck that Clint Boyer had at Daytona 500 in 2007, when you look at Carl Edwards bouncing off the catch fence and just tumble, it's not – there are so many things that keep these drivers much more safe than in any period of time. I remember watching – I can't remember his name now. It was I don't want to say it was No Name Jones, but he was one of the field fillers back in '89 that he had a terrible crash. Grant Adcox. That was his name.
Yeah.
So he's airlifted out of Atlanta. That's when Atlanta was the title gimmick. And, Dale Earnhardt wins the race. Rusty Wallace wins the championship. And Grant Adcox, that hit wasn't that bad. But it was enough. It was enough to, hurt him bad enough to kill him. The Earnhardt crash. I've seen Earnhardt crash 10 times worse than that. But that one crash in 2001 was enough. And the one thing I have to bring up is that people say, oh, well, I only watch NASCAR for the crashes. Excuse my language. You're an asshole. To the people that say, oh, NASCAR is just left-hand turns, you're an asshole. I'm sick to death, and I said it on my live feed.
I get that all the time, too.
Yeah, if you're one of these people, do me a favor. Go watch tennis. Don't bother me, because when you're sitting at home watching The Walking Dead or Days of Our Lives or whatever the hell you watch on any given day, I don't give you crap for it. Don't give me crap for liking what I like. Until you feed me, finance me, or otherwise, you don't get a say. You don't get a say. Sit down, shut up, and get out of our way. I'm done ranting. Let's get on to business.
All righty.
So, Daytona, this one that we're about to talk about, my opinion, the best race of the weekend, which was the Gander Outdoor RV Series, Truck Series, 3 wide, going to the finish line. Wow.
Yeah.
Nothing else to say. That's all I can say is wow.
Yeah. I mean, I will tell you this, though. I mean, the race was exciting on Friday night. I mean, besides the fact that, you had the Ty Majeski flip. Well, not really flip, but pretty much on his lid, the whole, probably going down the turn one, whatever it is. And again, we saw some exciting racing on Friday night. We saw some big crashes. And, of course, we did see a side-by-side finish with Grant Enfinger, who, of course, got his first win of the season at Daytona. And, of course, the first win of the season. So now he is locked into the playoffs. So he is one of the 10 drivers that are locked in and so forth. But going into this race, I thought to myself, there were a lot of young guys in this race. And the reason why, well, of course, now we all know that the Truck Series, it's all a bunch of young guys anyway. But one thing that kind of really hit me the most was that you had a lot of these young guys that had inexperience when it comes to super speedways. And yet again, this was basically, some of their guys' first trip to Daytona, which they didn't even have any idea of what they were doing and so forth. But I thought it was a good race. Of course, the big wreck near the end took out a lot of good favorite drivers that were going for the win and everything and so forth. But I couldn't even express the fact that Jordan Anderson gets his best career finish. Cody Robois, Derek Krause, and Natalie Decker. These guys all get best career finishes. And we said this before. When it comes to Daytona, Talladega, you never know what to expect. You never know who's going to run up front and who's going to be there at the end.
And again, you just mentioned, Jordan Anderson and Natalie Decker finishing 2nd and 5th respectively. I want to point out that when they went to Jordan Anderson, wow, could there have been a better, I don't know if he's ever been, staring down the barrel of a camera before on this big of a stage in this stage of his career. It looked like somebody told him, hey, you just hit 140 million in the Powerball. And he sounded like someone who just won 140 million in the Powerball. He was so excited. He was thankful. If I heard him say thank you one more time to this person, that person, oh my God, I just finished 2nd at Daytona. This is great. Woo! His enthusiasm was infectious. Now we move over to Natalie Decker, finishing 5th. Humble as all hell. Forget that hat flipping incident last year where she was just petulant millennial child Jones.
Yeah, I remember that.
Her grace in that post race was phenomenal. I'm sure she was excited. I'm sure her heart rate was like at $140 a minute. I just finished 5th, my best finish ever. Not only my best finish ever, at the World Center of Racing, both of them handled themselves so well. The enthusiasm of one and the grace of the other gives me hope that the Truck Series is now going to be, instead of the senior circuit, where we've seen a lot of, older guys who have, kind of fallen back in their career. This is really where the young, hungry talent needs to be.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't agree with that more. And like I said, I think we're going to see a lot of these young guys make it into the Truck Series, I think, within the next year or so. And then, let's face it, we're still in a new chapter, of all these young guys that are coming into all 3 series and whatnot.
Okay, so before we go further, Corey is going to give you the rundown of the race, and then we're going to go to the picks and the points. So here we go.
All right, so Grant Enfinger ends up winning the race. You have Jordan Anderson, who comes in 2nd. Cody Robois ends up finishing in 3rd. Derek Kraus in 4th. Natalie Decker rounds out your top 5. Then you have Austin Hill in 6th. You have Johnny Sauter in 7th. Ross Chastain in 8th. Sheldon Creed in 9th. And Jason White rounds out your top 10. And then, of course, other notables, you have Zane Smith in 11th. You have Riley Herbst in 12th. Brett Moffitt in 13th. Let's see, Matt Crafton, defending series champion, starts off the year in 15th. Todd Gilliland in 16th. Brennan Poole in 17th. Rafael Lessard in 20th. Stuart Freeze in 21st. Christian Eckes in 22nd. Tanner Gray in 23rd. Chad Little in 24th. Ben Rhodes in 25th. Gustine in 26th. Tyler Ankrum in 27th. And let's see, Austin Wayne Self in 31st. And then rounding out 32nd, you have Ty Majeski, who had that flip early in the race on Friday night. So yeah, pretty much, it's a good race. And all I can just say is the guys that won the stages were, let's see, Riley Herbst and Grant Enfinger.
Okay. So, hello. I'm sorry. I had what I like to call an eddy rigged light up, and it fell. I didn't want to start a fire, so I turned that summer gun off. I'm going to have to figure out some new lighting gimmicks here in the new recording area. So I apologize to anybody who's watching and saw the camera fall 3 times.
Yeah.
Anywho, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to let you lead off. Give me your happy and give me your sad for the truck race this weekend.
All right, so happy, I'm going to go with Cody Robois, who ends up finishing in 3rd, so great finish for him. And let's see, my sad, I am going to go with Matt Crafton, pretty much. Defending series champion, ran pretty good, just didn't really have probably the best run, from what I expected. I mean, he did get shuffled back like right at the end, but again, I do expect a lot of big things from him this year. Hopefully he can win a couple races. Let's face it, last year he won the championship without even winning a race, so that's great, but I really expect to see a lot more out of the 88 team this year.
Okay. My happy is going to be split. I've mentioned them before. Jordan Anderson and Natalie Decker share my happy. Best finishes in the series at the World Center of Racing. It doesn't get bigger than that. Actually, it can if they find victory lane this year. My sad's going to go to Ty Majeski to watch that wreck. I don't think you were watching the truck race at the time, and you asked me on a text message, how's Majeski doing? Yeah, dude flipped. It's over. So,
No, I actually texted you saying, yo, I just saw a flip, and then I think you pretty much, you said, yeah. Yeah, yeah. And then I saw the replay and I thought to myself, like, okay, so he pretty much got hooked and then, that pretty much had him flipped over and stuff.
Yeah, and that's super speedway racing. It's not like getting hooked at Bristol or getting hooked at, this week coming in Vegas. You're adding, a lot more miles per hour. It's easier to take these tumbles. It's easier to take these, airborne gimmick schnibbits. It just happens. And, Majeski, when he was released from the care center, really cool, really calm, really collected. But yeah, he's gonna pick up my sad for the week.
Yeah.
All right, so now we go to the first ever points and picks of the season. I will start with Corey. Corey took Austin Hill, right? Yeah, I got his name right. Austin Hill as his lock. He finished 6th. He took Spencer Boyd as his sleeper. He finished 19th. That's a total of 25. You split that in half. Corey, your finish in the truck race is a very good 12.5. Now,
yes.
I took Ross Chastain as my lock. He finished 8th. I took Sheldon, don't call me Apollo Creed, as my sleeper. He finished 9th for a total of 17. That gives me an 8.5. The first point of the year goes to the 2019 T-shirt champion right here, baby, Mr. Chris Burns.
Well, I will be back, so let's face
Dude, if I could get the notebook over here and tell these people, if you're new to the show, how close last year was coming down that stretch. It's a tie. Chris pulls ahead. It's a tie. Corey pulls ahead. It's a tie. Chris pulls ahead. It was just so good. So good.
Yeah.
But now we move on to Saturday, the Xfinity race. Noah Gragson comes away with the win. Not in domineering fashion, but boy, did he look good doing it.
And of course, not to mention, it was the 3rd straight win for a junior motorsports driver to win the season opener Xfinity race in February Daytona. So just think about it. Tyler Reddick did it in 2018, and then last year you had Michael Annett, and now this year you have Noah Gragson, of course, gets his first career Xfinity Series win at Daytona. So I thought that this, it was a good race. I'd probably say some of it was kind of exciting, and then at the end, I'd say it was an okay finish. The race ended under caution, which, is a bummer because I really wanted to see a green flag finish. But I will say this, though, I thought the junior motorsports guys, had some really good shots to win on Saturday. Not just Noah Gragson, but pretty much his teammates, Jeb Burton and Justin Allgaier, which I thought, those guys were pretty good early on in the race, too.
Yeah, and when you go back and you watch this, these guys came out of the box strong at the Xfinity race. Again, rain plagued the weekend at Daytona all weekend long. Every day had a different rain out. Every day had a different rain delay. One of the gentlemen I work with, I watch a truck race flag to flag on Friday night. I go into work Saturday. He's like, stay up for that? Well, yeah, I kind of did. I kind of have this NASCAR thing I do on Wednesday nights live on YouTube with Corey Huffnagel. We call it the C&J Speedway Review. Yeah, I went to bed. I'm like, dude, you missed an exciting race. Now, working Saturday, coming home, getting all my gimmick done, thank God for the world of DVR to watch the Xfinity race. Really, really spectacular. Yes, yeah. And I'll agree with you. Would have liked to have seen if Gragson could, pull it off with a green flag, but the chips fall where they fall, man. So I'm just happy that Noah Gragson, as much as we have, pushed his name over the last 2 years, has this victory on the Xfinity Series locked into the playoffs. And let's see where he can move forward. Going to the junior motorsports bit, it's junior. He's got all the technical help in the world. And what one track is more synonymous with the name Earnhardt? None. It's Daytona. So, right. Of course, anything an Earnhardt puts their finger on at Daytona is going to be successful.
And I think what's also going to be interesting is you just look at this year's Xfinity Series, now that Tyler Reddick, Cole Custer, and Christopher Bell, those guys all went to the Cup Series. I think this is going to be an opportunity year. I think this is going to be an opportunity year for everybody, in the Xfinity Series. I look at guys like, Gragson, Harrison Burton. I look at Brandon Jones, Chase Briscoe, Justin Haley. I look at those guys that possibly winning races this year. I look at Austin Cindric, could possibly win a couple of races this year. Justin Allgaier, of course, could win some races this year, along with, some of the guys that, might have some part-time rides, in the 8 car for Junior Motorsports, and then the 21 car for Richard Childress Racing. And then not to mention, of course, Ross Chastain, of course, I think this is going to be an opportunity year, but I'm actually going to point this one out. So I don't know if you guys watched the pre-race show for the Xfinity race on Saturday, but one thing that I was kind of not happy with was pretty much, since Christopher Bell, Tyler Reddick, and Cole Custer are on to the Cup Series, we have to pick who's going to be the next big 3 for the Xfinity Series and whatnot. And immediately, you could have saw me, like, cussing at my TV, like, saying, like, guys, it's race 1 of the Xfinity Series. We don't even know who's going to be good yet. I mean, come on. Like, we don't even know how many races all these guys are going to win and so forth. But some of the analysts that did their picks, I looked at them, I'm like, okay, some of them I do agree, and then there was one that I didn't agree, which I said, okay, this guy needs to improve, unless, he either wins the race early in the season, or if he does great, and then I'll pretty much consider where to put him and everything else and so forth. But yeah, that was one thing that I didn't really like the most, but I don't know. I would probably say that, for the guys on Fox, which not only they dropped the ball on the 500, but I think they kind of dropped the ball on pretty much predicting the Xfinity Big 3 like a little bit too early. But I would probably say just give it about 10 races and we'll see how many, races the Xfinity regulars win, unless you don't have any of the Cup guys that come in and steal all the wins and so forth, which I don't know. I don't think you might not have any of the Cup guys running this series this year. I mean, chances are you might have maybe 1 or 2, but who knows?
Well, all right. I was going to go the Yankee route, but since I know you're a Bruins fan in hockey, let's go this route. Zdeno Chara is one of the best defensemen ever in the history of the Boston Bruins. When he decides to hang it up, well, now we have to pick a best defenseman. Let's let this Hall of Fame gentleman go about his business and let it be organic, let it grow. When Derek Jeter retired, the fans in New York and the papers in New York were so quick to say, well, the next guy has to be just as good. No, because we had Tony effing Fernandez the year before Jeter, and then Jeter has a 20-plus year run in New York. These people come along once in a lifetime, and that Big 3 in the Xfinity Series for the last 2 years comes along once in a lifetime.
Yeah.
To sit there, and I watched it back when I went to the DVR. You texted me, they're trying to pick a new Big 3. How? They haven't put rubber to the road yet.
Right.
We have to let this grow organically. You said 10 races. I said 15 races. Let's see. Let's let the season progress. If you're starting to pick a Big 3, it's a recipe for disaster.
Right.
So Corey's going to read to you the finishing order of the Xfinity race this past Saturday that Noah Gragson won, and then we will go to the picks and points.
All right. So Noah Gragson ended up getting his first career win. You have Harrison Burton in second. You have Timmy Hill in third. Brandon Jones rounds out in fourth. Chase Briscoe in fifth. Justin Haley in sixth. Brandon Brown ends up coming home in seventh. Ray Black Jr. comes home in eighth. Ryan Sieg in ninth. And Alex Bay rounds out your top 10. And then you got Michael Annett in 11th. You have J.J. Aley in 12th. Let's see. You got nobody's favorite B.J. McLeod in 13th.
Oh!
Yeah, they showed a little bit of him on the race on Saturday, and I thought to myself, why are they advertising this guy right now?
You texted me that, and then I watched it back, and I'm like, are you kidding? I thought you were messing with me.
Yeah, no, they didn't. No, they actually showed him on there. I forget what it was about, but I think it was something about like getting new cars or whatever it is. But I don't know. I just kind of got off topic there for a little bit.
B.J. McLeod should be dropped from a helicopter into a pool of acid, screaming while his family watches in horror.
Jeez.
You're welcome.
Yep. All right. Anyways, you got Joe Nemechek in 15th. You have, David Starr in 18th. Jesse Little in 19th. You have Josh Bilicki in 21st. Ross Chastain, who goes from the 10 car to the 38 car, thanks to Jeff Green for sharing that ride for him. Ended up coming in 22nd. You have Jeb Burton in 23rd. Brett Moffitt in 24th. Austin Cindric in 25th. You have C.J. McLaughlin in 27th. Jeremy Clements in 28th, Justin Allgaier in 30th, Riley Herbst in 32nd. You have Myatt Snyder in 33rd. And then you have Austin Hill in 35th and Joe Graff Jr. in 36th.
All right, so I'll throw out the happies and sads first. As much as I want to pick Gragson, it's a homer pick. I'm going to go the other way. Harrison Burton coming in second deserves the happy. As far as I know, best finish for him on this series. Once again, best finish at the World Center of Racing. Big ups to this kid. He's going places. My sad is going to go to Justin Allgaier. Here's a guy who has been championship contender for the last couple years. Just bad luck at the World Center of Racing. And a 30th finish is not where Justin Allgaier or that team wanted to be.
Yeah, my happy is going to be the same as well. And then my sad, I'm going to go with Jeb Burton. Tough day for this guy. I mean, it looked as if he was going to have a shot to win, or better yet, get a top 5 finish, and then he gets taken out late in the race. So tough break for the guy in the 8 car.
Right. So we'll go to the picks now. I'll start with me. I took Ross Chastain again. As my lock, he finished 22nd. I took Justin Allgaier as my sleeper. He finished 30th. That gives me a total of 52. Put that in half, and I am in the lower half of the field with a finish of 26. Corey, on the other hand, took Michael Annett as his lock. He finished 11th. And his sleeper, Harrison Burton, finishes in second for a total of 13. That's a finish of 6.5 already, guys. Corey has taken the lead in the points. The 2 points go to Corey. Right now, it's 2-1. So you see how quickly this can change. It's all subjective. And as we get deeper into the season, you guys will learn this. We're going to talk about things like my favorite phrase, momentum, momentum, momentum. You're going to hear Corey talk about, well, last year on this track and yada, yada, yada. Too early in the season. This is all fun and games Jones.
Yeah.
So it started on Sunday. It ended on Monday. No, it did not take that long because they were driving 12 miles an hour. It was because of rain. The Daytona 500. We've talked about it with the Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, Ryan Newman Crash. But no. Denny Hamlin comes across with his third Daytona 500 victory. And when we were at your house, great food, great friends, great atmosphere. That first 20 laps, you saw a lot of shuffling. You did see a lot of straight line racing, but, you'd have 3 or 4 cars break out, start their own train. They make a little momentum. A couple other cars go, hey, I like that low line. I'm going to go with them. The new aero package, to me, fantastic. I love it. Yeah. It creates more of a chance for you in 13th to hook up with a line and move your way to the front. We saw that several times. Harvick did it. Logano did it. At one point, Kyle Busch did it. A lot of these guys that know how to work that racetrack and know how to work this car, even with the new aero package, found a way to find a train and move their way to the front.
Exactly, and this was pretty much the same aero package that we saw, with the racing at Daytona and Talladega last year. And I get it, the closing rate, it gets a lot more closer than what it is the last couple of years because, you're on that guy, within like about a second. And of course, trying to make a move, sometimes it can be a little bit tough because, you're pretty much off the gas. And when you're off the gas, here comes that other pack train that's coming up on the high side, whatever it is, and so forth. But actually, did you know that so Denny Hamlin won his second straight Daytona 500? So pretty much he becomes the 4th driver to win the 500 back-to-back since Sterling Marlin did it back in 1994 and 95. So I think that was the one part where, I think Fox didn't really mention because of the whole accident and everything and so forth. But all in all, I thought the racing was good. I'd say like the first 2 stages, it was a little bit quiet. But then once it got to that third stage, that was when it was pretty much go time because, it was the Daytona 500. They had to do what they had to do to win. And then, of course, I think with 16 laps to go, you had the big wreck, which, of course, it took out a lot of top contenders and what else and so forth. But, again, super speedway racing, with this package, I think it's exciting. But, of course, what we saw after the race, NASCAR could maybe make a tweak at it. I don't know. I mean, we'll just have to see what happens within the next couple of days or whatever. So, but all in all, I thought it was a good race. I thought it was a good finish. So, yeah.
Yeah, the big one kind of struck me because it took, like you said, it took out a lot of the really, really top contenders. You had Stenhouse Jr., who had a stellar car in the first 20 laps that we saw at your house, and then in the beginning of the race, Stenhouse was out there for a long damn time. Then you have Hamlin, and then the lead shuffles a little bit. You saw the trains come, you saw this come. I couldn't have asked for a better race. Again, that last turn just kind of, again, it's going to be stuck in my memory forever. When somebody says, "Hey, what'd you think of the 2020 Daytona 500?" I'm like, I can't believe Ryan Newman is alive. And I can't believe that people are assigning blame to Newman and or Blaney. Hamlin and or Blaney. So a fantastic race all the way around. The one thing I have to bring up is to watch all the Gibbs Toyotas fade to the back and run that. Again, remember, guys, Hamlin is a Gibbs Toyota. They all dropped to the back really, really early. They were running, 31, 32, 33, 34. The announcers are like, is this strategy or is there a problem with the Toyotas? Because Christopher Bell seems to be, up in 10th at this point, but all the Gibbs guys are in the back. They finally get radio chatter. They put it on TV, and you know me, I've got the earbud in all the time, listening to the scanners on the NASCAR app. And the Gibbs guys are just saying, we're trying to avoid the big one, want to see what we've got. When we move together. When we drop together. And you see at the end of the race, because Hamlin finishes in first, the Toyotas were strong, and I was not expecting that. I thought the Fords were the dominance of the field, but to see that train move up, and Eric Jones, bad day. Kyle Busch, bad day. Denny Hamlin wins the race. Martin Truex, bad day. The Toyotas had speed. They had all the speed in the world. Unfortunately, situations took them out, with the exception of Hamlin, who obviously is raising the Harley JL trophy.
Right. And then, of course, during the race, which I noticed that, the Toyotas would drop in the back because of strategy, and then they would move back up. And then second stage, you have the Fords that will drop in the back, because of strategy. And again, just like what we saw in the Busch Clash last week, there were guys that were on different fuel strategies, kind of like what we saw during the race on Monday. And pretty much, I think this is one thing that with this new package, we're probably going to see this on the super speedways, who is going to be the guys that are going to have a good fuel strategy. And again, like when we go to Talladega in May or April, whatever you call it, you'll probably see the same thing. You'll have the manufacturers drop to the back before the end of the first stage, and then they'll come up and lead up at the front, and then have the Fords drop to the back, and then have the Chevys drop to the back. So yeah, it's like we saw last year at Daytona when we had the manufacturer teammates, which I still think that was kind of hairy to begin with, but
garbage.
Yet again, I think this is probably going to be the new super speedway racing, where everybody's going to be quiet real early, and then once it's the third stage, that's when it's go time.
Well, when you saw at one point, and again, little Homer Jones here, when you saw Harvick and DiBenedetto, two Fords locked together, and they're leading that train, and there's a gap between DiBenedetto and I think it was Logano at that point. There was like maybe a 2-car length gap as Logano's trying to come to speed. Chevy driver Chase Elliott pulls right in. I think we saw less team rules, and we saw less manufacturer rules. We saw more team rules.
Yeah.
So when you saw the Gibbs guys drop back and run in a straight line, they're trying to get their strategy. They're trying to figure out their speed, everything. To watch Harvick, a Stewart-Haas guy, and then DiBenedetto, a Wood Brothers guy. Then you have Chase Elliott pull in, who is a Hendrick guy, and then Logano behind him, who is a Penske guy. Those guys were more worried about speed and getting to the front. The Gibbs guys, there was something, there's something special about anything Joe Gibbs touches. And as much as I dislike a lot of the drivers he has on board, okay, only one driver that he has on board, #FKB.
Right.
I dig Truex, I dig Hamlin, Eric Jones on the fence, love the last name. But when it's all said and done, the Gibbs guys know how to work together.
Yeah.
So this is the part where Corey's going to bring up the finishing order. We'll go to the picks and then the points, and then we are going to do a real quick pick rundown of Vegas.
All right.
With that is Corey Huffnagel.
All right, so you got Denny Hamlin who won the race. You have Ryan Blaney who finished in second. Chris Buescher in third. David Reagan rounds out in fourth. Kevin Harvick in fifth. Then you have Clint Boyer in sixth. You have Brendan Gaughan in seventh. Corey LaJoie rounds out in eighth. You have Ryan Newman in ninth. And Kyle Larson rounds out your top 10. And then other notables, you have John Hunter Nemechek in 11th. You have Austin Dillon in 12th. You have Justin Haley in 13th. You have Michael McDowell in 14th. Bubba Wallace in 15th. You have Chase Elliott in 17th. Eric Jones in 18th. Matt DiBenedetto in 19th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in 20th. Then you have Christopher Bell in 21st. You have Eric Almirola in 22nd. You have Alex Bowman in 24th. Ross Chastain in 25th. You have Joey Logano in 26th. Tyler Reddick in 28th. Ryan Preece in 29th. Ty Dillon in 30th. You have Martin Truex Jr. in 32nd. Kurt Busch in 33rd. Kyle Busch in 34th, Jimmy Johnson 35th, Brad Keselowski 36th, Cole Custer in 37th, and of course William Byron ends up running in 40th.
Okay. I'll lead happy and sad on this one as well. Originally, when the race ended and I calculated all these picks, and while we're waiting to get the word on Ryan Newman, my original happy, and I'm going to give him a half happy, is Chris Buescher. What a fantastic finish for him. The car ran great all day. He wasn't too far from the top 10, top 15 all day, except for pit stops. And I give Chris Buescher a lot of crap because his one win in the series came at a rain-delayed race. Here he is at a rain-delayed race, but it's rain-delayed early, and he's running strong all day long. So, but my other happy has to go to Ryan Newman, finishing ninth, and today walking out of the hospital hand in hand with his two daughters. As a father of a daughter myself, just tears, dude, tears. So he's going to get they're both getting a happy. My sad, Martin Truex Jr., former champ. He's chasing that Daytona 500 dream, much like Kyle Busch, much like a lot of other drivers. And it just seems that, with the exception of that second place finish not long ago at Daytona, Martin Truex and Daytona are Superman and Kryptonite.
Yeah. All right. So for me, my happy would go to David Reagan because, of course, he's retiring from full-time racing, but, of course, gets a fourth place finish in the 500. And, of course, my sad would definitely have to go to William Byron. I mean, had a really good car, won his qualifying race, but then yet again got taken out early on Monday.
All right, so we will go to the picks now, and I will start with Corey. Corey's lock was Martin Truex Jr. He finished 32nd. His sleeper was Justin Haley, the summer winner of the Daytona race this past year. He finished 13th. And your hopeful was Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He finished in 20th. That's a total of 65. You divide that by 3. Corey, your finish was 22.3. I took Kevin Harvick, Homer Jones, as my lock. He finished 5th. I took Eric Jones, as my sleeper. He finished 18th. And I took Matt DiBenedetto as my hopeful. He finished 19th for a total of 43. My finish was a 14.3. And as quickly as Corey held that lead for the last 15.6 minutes, I took it back by taking those 3 points for Daytona. We go to the cumulative rankings, which, guys, it's 1 week. It's easy. Chris got 4 points. Corey got 2 points. I've got a 2-point advantage. It's 1 week. But everything is about to change because the World Center of Gambling follows the World Center of Racing. We go to Las Vegas this weekend. All 3 series are running. Corey will start with the trucks. Again, new gimmick this season. We're going to tell them who's in it. We're going to tell them where, when, how, and why. And then we're just going to dive into the picks.
All right. So Friday night you have the Gander RV and Outdoors Truck Series Strat 200, 9 o'clock Eastern Time on FS1, and then of course you could have it on Sirius XM Satellite Radio, Channel 90, the NASCAR Network, and then of course for the race on Friday night you have the Motor Racing Network,
the voice of NASCAR.
Correctamundo.
I had to show the shirt. That's the championship shirt from last year, brother.
Of course.
And I'm going to get a new one this November.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
I love your enthusiasm. All right. So real quick, for those of you that don't know, and maybe this is something we're working out the kinks on this new format. So it's a mile and a half.
Yep.
High banking, really strong speeds in the turns. The backstretch is always a crapshoot, and of course you have the dog leg coming in at the end of the race. So
Yes.
In the Truck Series, Corey, I want to know your lock and I want to know your sleeper.
Alrighty, so my lock for the race this weekend, I'm definitely going to go with Kyle Busch. And yes, guys, Kyle Busch is going to be doing his first of 5 races this year. So I could just say this. Yes, he is going to be tough to beat. Of course, when it comes to Las Vegas and the Truck Series, yeah, I mean, it's going to be pretty much the kryptonite, for the race on Friday night, and of course anybody who's going to be competing else and so forth. My sleeper, I'm going to go with the 52 of Stuart Friesen. Now, just remember this, Hummer Racing switched manufacturers to Toyota this year, so I thought to myself, and of course, Hummer Racing is also getting their alliances with Kyle Busch Motorsports as well, so I thought, okay, I'm going to say this, it's going to come down between either Kyle Busch or Stuart Friesen, respectively, because, of course, with the Toyotas, think about this, guys. My little fact for you guys is Toyota ended up winning 12 races a year ago. Chevrolet won 10. So I'm thinking, since Ford only got their 1 win this year, I have a feeling, I think the Toyotas are going to be strong. I think they're going to be tough to beat. And if anything, I think you're probably going to see Kyle Busch Motorsports and Hummer Racing, win a couple races this year.
Okay, I took Ross Chastain as my lock. Again, this is a guy that last year declared late and really blew up the Truck Series. He tipped the apple cart, and that's something we want to see every year. Somebody come in and just make a sweeping change and just change the norm. Nobody likes normal. Normal's boring. Let's shake it up.
Yeah.
If he's in the starting lineup, and again, we don't have the starting lineup. They go out tomorrow. They practice. They qualify. I'm going to make a caveat pick here, and we will all get these. Corey, you'll even get one if you have to, if you pick someone outside of the norm in the first 10 weeks.
Yeah.
My sleeper is going to be Jordan Anderson. If he's in the field, I'm picking him as my sleeper. If he fails to qualify, because we have to have 2 picks, I'm going with Sheldon, don't call me Apollo Creed. He's my sleeper for the last 16 weeks last year. I want to see him win a race. I think it's coming. I think 2020 is the year for Sheldon, don't call me Apollo Creed.
Yeah, Jordan Anderson's racing on Friday.
Okay, so I'm going to put a circle around Anderson, and let's hope he qualifies and gets in there. So now, Saturday, Xfinity Racing from Las Vegas, Nevada. How, when, where, and why?
All right, so Saturday you have the Xfinity Series Boyd Gaming 300, 4 o'clock Eastern Time on FS1, and then, of course, streaming live on SiriusXM Satellite Radio, Channel 90, the NASCAR Network. And unfortunately, of course, the race this weekend, you will have it on PRN, the Performance Racing Network.
The other guys.
Yes.
All right. So, you want to take picks or you want me to go first?
I think I went first. You go.
Okay. Again, we talked about it earlier. I'm going to say my 3 favorite words. Momentum, momentum, momentum. Noah Gragson is my lock for this week. When you win at Daytona, you can win anywhere, with the exception of road courses. But anything in an oval, a tri-oval, a rectangle, if you can win at Daytona, you can win anywhere. So Gragson's my lock. My sleeper, man, I'm going double duty again. I'm going to go with Ross Chastain. Looked good in the Xfinity race until bad luck just basically reached up and bit him in the butt. Of course, he was driving a Jeff Green car, so the fact that he finished above 30th was really interesting for me.
Well, which, of course, Chastain failed to qualify in the 10 car, which, of course, Jeff ended up sharing that ride to him. So props on Jeff Green for doing that.
I'll give Jeff Green some credit. If he wasn't going to finish in last place, at least Ross Chastain took it 18 spots further.
Yeah.
All right, you're locking your sleeper, sir.
All right, so my lock, I'm going to go with Noah Gragson's teammate, Daniel Hemrick, which, of course, Daniel is going to be running a part-time Xfinity schedule this year for Junior Motorsports. So I think Daniel I think is going to have a shot to win on Saturday. No question about it. My sleeper, I am going to go with a guy that was pretty good. So I'm going to go with Riley Herbst. Now, he didn't have a good Daytona outing on Saturday. And of course, he is from Las Vegas, so hometown kid. So I really want to see him do good in this 18 car. Yes, again, didn't do good in Daytona, but I hope he does pretty good this year. And I still kind of question why they put him full time in the Xfinity Series, even though they gave him a part time slot. But I don't know. I'm hoping a lot of big things from him this year.
All right, quick point on that. He opened a lot of eyes last year. So, yeah, I get
Right.
the Riley Herbst full-time gimmick on the Xfinity Series.
Yeah.
So now we go to Sunday. 2 TVs will be in front of me. I'll be at the Azarju Mini Mansion. On the left, on the big screen, will be the Las Vegas race. On the right will be my New York Guardians facing Loki's St. Louis Battlehawks in an XFL battle for whoever's not as good as Eddie's DC Defenders. So, all right. So as we roll into the Cup Series on Sunday, how, when, where, and why?
All right. So Sunday you have the Pennzoil 400 for the NASCAR Cup Series, 3:30 Eastern Time on Fox, and then of course on Sirius XM Satellite Radio Channel 90, and of course you have the PRN, the Performance Racing Network.
Oh my God, the place where Rusty Wallace used to work.
Yes.
I'm wearing the shirt. I'm wearing the shirt tonight, and I don't get triple duty. This is garbage.
Right.
Or as they say on my show, horse. Not gonna finish that. Nope.
No, I knew where you were getting at.
All right, so why don't you throw your picks down, guys? If you're new to the show, the other 2 series get a lock and a sleeper. On the Cup Series, we pick a lock, we pick a sleeper, and we pick a hopeful.
All right. So my lock for this weekend, I am going to go with the 19 car Martin Truex Jr. Was pretty good on the mile and a half last year, which of course he won at Las Vegas last year as well. So definitely expect him to have a big year this year, especially with the new crew chief. So hopefully those guys can win a bunch of races just like how he won with Cole Pern over the years. My sleeper, I'm going to go with Christopher Bell on this one. Now, this is going to be the first mile and a half race for the 95 team, and I really want to see how Christopher does this year. And again, here's another kid that, I expected some big things out of him at Daytona, didn't really have the best finish from what I expected. I mean, at once, he was running in third, could have got the lead, but he faded back. But again, this was a team that, that was consistent all year with Matt DiBenedetto. And I expect a lot of big things this year out of the 95 with Christopher. So hopefully, this team can hit some success. If not, maybe it could get win a race sometime soon. And then are we doing hopefuls or is that it?
The Cup Series always has a hopeful, Corey. How long have you been working with me?
Okay. Okay. I kind of got off there for a minute.
All right. Fair enough.
Anyways, real quick, so my hopeful, I'm going to go with the guy that won the Xfinity race last year at Las Vegas. I'm going to go with Tyler Reddick. Now, this was a kid that last year ran the Cup race at Kansas, finished in the top 10, so I thought, all right, he's in a Richard Childress car, and this is another guy that I do expect to have some good runs this year, if not, maybe going to win this year. And also the fact of the matter is he's also going to be driving the Tame the Beast Chevrolet, which I thought, and part of my friends on this one, I thought in the Xfinity race last year, I thought it was a badass paint scheme. I thought it was, with the red and black. I thought it was pretty cool, and I hope he brings that same paint scheme again on Sunday.
You said ass.
Shut up, butt munch.
Bunghole, bunghole, bunghole.
Shut up, Beavis.
All right.
All right, anyways.
All right, here we go. My lock is the same. I got Martin Truex Jr., the king of the mile and a half in the last 5 years. My sleeper was he my sleeper last week? No, he was my hopeful. But seeing how he ran at Daytona, I'm picking Matt DiBenedetto. And my hopeful, and this one's for you, Frank, wherever you are. This pick is for you. My hopeful is going to be the man piloting the number 6 Roush Fenway Ford. I'm picking Ross Chastain, triple duty on my picks list. I picked him for my lock in the Truck Series. I picked him as my sleeper in the Xfinity Series. He is now all 3 lock, sleeper, hopeful on my list. And the reason I'm picking this is because the Roush Fenway fans, the Ryan Newman fans, they need something to cling on to. They need something to smile about. Yes, it's great that he's out of the hospital, but we know it's going to be several weeks before we see Ryan Newman pilot that number 6 Ford around the track. So why not give my tip of the hat this week to Ross Chastain, who was in that car? And I have to ask you a question. Before that announcement was made, who did you think was going to fill in for Ryan in the 6?
I was pretty much hoping Chase Briscoe or anybody, in the Fords, but I was kind of surprised that they picked Chastain, and I thought, all right, so Chastain's a Chevrolet driver, and I don't know if he could drive 2 manufacturers at once, but no, but I thought it was a good pick. And again, Ross Chastain reminds me of Brad Keselowski. He's an aggressive driver, not afraid to say whatever is on his mind. And again, I could see him, hopefully can get a full-time Cup ride within next year. I mean, hey, who knows? Maybe, and I'm just saying maybe, he could probably be the top candidate to replace Jimmy Johnson in 2021.
Really? Wow. Okay.
I'm just saying maybe.
When the conversation happened today between my coworker Joey Bag of Donuts, Joey, if you're out there, big ups to you. He really cemented this, and when they announced Ross Chastain, I immediately texted him. I'm like, dude, we were wrong. He asked me that question. I said, oh, that's a great question to ask Corey tonight, and I didn't have a pick. But he said, you know what would be fun? You know what would be cool? If Roush Fenway asked Hailie Deegan to fill in the 6. Wow. Mind blown. No, I see you shaking your head. And if you're not watching on YouTube, you didn't see the FKP.
Oh.
I know. I blew it. Second week of the season, and I've already screwed it up.
You're washing your mouth with soap tonight.
I'm washing my mouth with something. I might use palm olive. I soak my hands in it and my tongue.
No, the reason why I'm shaking my head on that, I'm thinking, all right, don't bring Hailie Deegan up too quickly. I mean, have her stay in the Arca Menard series, for about 2 years, see how she does. And, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
No. Full agreement. However,
right.
If Ryan's out for a week, 4 weeks, the beginning, what great PR. Hailie Deegan is a fantastic race car driver. She is young. She has the skill. She has the ability. But you want to talk about diversity in racing? Having Bubba Wallace, is fine. Danica Patrick, let's be honest, failed experiment that went on too damn long.
Well, yeah, that's true.
But for the first race, and this was my mindset, when Joey said Hailie Deegan, I said, well, the first race would be great, but have it be a rotating door. If she does well, bring her back the next week. If she doesn't do well, okay, maybe we move on. Maybe we grab Noah Gragson or Chase Briscoe or somebody else. But the first race, I thought, perfect. What better way to put that girl in the national spotlight than put her in that 6 car for the first week? But yeah. Ross Chastain, great pick by Roush Racing. Roush Fenway Racing. Heaven forbid I forget the green Stadium of Doom that I hate so much.
Right.
God bless America. Oh man. Anyway, but that's it for the picks. We've done everything we have to do, and now here comes the 45 minutes where Corey pimps, plugs, or otherwise pushes the product upon the people.
All right, guys. So make sure you guys follow us on Facebook. Make sure you guys click like, and then, of course, you will get notifications on where we are and, probably get some results, news, wherever we post on there every day. We did post a lot of Ryan Newman stuff over the past couple of days, which, fantastic that you guys liked our articles or whatever. So good job on that. Instagram, we are at C&J Speedway. If you guys want to follow these stories that I post on Wednesdays for the previews and stuff. And then, of course, Twitter, we are at CJ_Speedway as well. And I also want to give a big happy birthday to Chelsea Tzatziki Sauce, who turns 28 today. 28.
28?
Yes.
Bro, she doesn't look a day over 27.
No, she's 28, and it's funny because So me and her, we were actually born the same year. It's just that, she was born in February, I was November. So,
That's
yeah.
your problem, not mine. I can't fix that.
But anyways, I just want to give a little happy birthday to her as well. I know she's at the Lowell basketball game tonight, where her stepbrother Cameron LaValle, which of course Cameron is a sports announcer that has done some college games as well. I forget what sports that he does. I think he does like basketball, whatever it is. But big props on Cam and everybody. You guys do a good job. So and everything. But yeah, happy birthday to Chelsea, and also make sure you guys wish her happy birthday as well. So yeah, that's literally all I have for us to show for. And yeah. And then
Yeah,
other than that, and then other than that, next Tuesday I am going to a Bruins game. So go Bees! That's a part of Chelsea's birthday gift, which I don't know if you guys know, but so if you met Bill, well, Chris, you pretty much met Bill. So Bill and his wife Linda gave me the Bruins tickets, so that's a birthday gift from them to me to give to her, else and so forth. And then also for the picks, which you guys pretty much draw out of a hat. I want to say a big congratulations to Mark DeMeo, which he picked Denny Hamlin to win the race. So Mark, the next time I see you, you are going to get a Dunkin' Donuts gift card for about $50. So remember, folks, if we ever have a sponsor, all I can just say is this show is sponsored by Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh my Lord.
C&J Speedway review runs on Dunkin'. So anyways, Mark, congratulations on your prize. You will get it the next time I see you.
Congratulations, brother, man. Another good dude. Do you want to tell the folks before I do my pimps and plugs what happened when I picked out of the bowl?
You picked Kyle Busch.
Yes, I did. If that wasn't the horse crap of all horse craps.
And if you would have picked him, he pretty much blew an engine anyway, so.
Well, I would have been happy with that, and I was happy with that. But immediately, much like my Charlotte trip years ago when I picked Jimmy Johnson, and I looked over to my right, and it was a little old dude, and I said, who do you got? Somebody named Joey Gacy. I'll take it. You want Jimmy Johnson? Here, take this. I can't do it. There's no way I could have sat there with that slip in my hand all day going,
oh, yeah, exactly.
No, but I traded with, I think it was Jeff. I traded with Jeff, and I got Kyle Larson, but it's all for naught. Congratulations. You got your gift card, man. That's good. All right, pimps and plugs. Don't forget, if you are not a YouTube fan, if you're watching us for the first time, thank you to everybody who watched the live feed Monday night. Racing family, man. The power of prayer works. God is good, and Ryan Newman walked out of the hospital. You're now part of this family. You can also find us, if you're not free on Wednesday nights, find us on Apple Podcasts, Anchor FM, wherever you steal your favorite podcast from. You can find us in audio-only version on all of these sites. Look us up, C&J Speedway Review. You can find us. If you have trouble finding us, send a message to Corey, send a message to myself. We will point you in the right direction. So if you're driving, your commute, you want to listen to us on audio only, we will give you that information. Please check out also the flagship of the Focus Digital Network, the Loki and Jaberni Show. Last night we did 5 musical questions to each other, and it was a blast. Talking about music is something that I love. I'm a huge fan of music, and it was a great time. Past that, one more plug for producer Eddie and for Loki. Check out Basement Quest. If you're a fan of Dungeons and Dragons, Warhammer, comic books, just all the stuff that people, when they looked at you in high school and you did that stuff, said, you're a geek. Well, you're not. I looked down on it for years and years. In the last 9 weeks, 8 weeks, 9 weeks, don't know, don't care. I listen to this show. I have a great time. I learn a lot. And one Saturday, I am going to take a day off, and I'm going to go and sit onto the side, watch them do their podcast, and then I'm going to watch them throw down with the dice and the miniatures and the charmed Longstaffs and the orcs and the whatever. It's a fun time. We all like what we like. And I said it earlier in this episode, and before Corey says the most famous 2 words in C&J Speedway Review history, look, you want to pick on them for gaming? You're an asshole. You want to pick on us for liking racing? Oh, look, they're making another left turn. You're an asshole. You want to make fun of somebody for liking Tupac or Kiss? And I'm guilty of this one as well. You want to make fun of someone for liking Nickelback? You're an asshole. We all like what we like. At the end of the day, And I see producer Eddie Focus in the box shaking his head. We should all hate Nickelback, but don't look down on someone for liking what they like, because chances are if you told someone, hey, you know what, I'm a big fan of Out of the Clear Blue Sky, I'm just going to look around, I have nothing. Corey, who's your favorite musical act?
Oh, my favorite musical act? Boy, if I had to pick one right now, I mean, it's just it's just so tough to choose, but if I had to say one now, I'd probably say Kenny Chesney.
Well, he sucks. Now, see, I'm an asshole.
No, I was just going to say, you know something? You suck.
Well, sometimes I do and sometimes I don't.
I'm throwing you the Billy Madison reference.
Depends on the day, depends on the weather. But guys, thank you again to all of you who are new to the show. This season is going to be fun. Corey has said it a million times. It's going to be exciting. A lot of young guns, a lot of new blood. We're going to have fun every single week. You can find us here on YouTube live, usually right at 8:30. But again, if you're an audio-only kind of person, you'll find us wherever you steal your favorite podcast from Thursday. So with that, I throw it to Corey Hoffnagel with the two most famous words in C&J Speedway review history.
Good night.
See here, I thought you were going to say Jolly Rancher.
I was thinking about it, you know.
Buenos nachos, everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
and we lost Eddie. So you guys, YouTubers, this is the beauty of it. This is Extra Gimmick Jones.
Yes. So I want to tell you this little story. So I guess my brother's going out with this girl, whatever it is, right? And